Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times together talking horror. And today I think this is the most excited I have been about a movie review in a long time. I mean, I always get excited talking about movies, but I was just so stupidly excited to go and watch *Malignant* that I just cannot wait to let you guys know what I thought of it.
It's coffee time!
Last Saturday was a great day for me because I was able to watch 3 movies that I had on my watch list. The first one was The Green Knight, loved it, really interesting, really weird. Then I watched Dune, absolutely loved it, recommend you guys to check it out. Since it's not horror, I'm not going to do a separate review, but the cinematography alone, it's just stunning. The acting, everything, loved it. And then I went to see *Malignant*, and to be honest, this is the one that I was the most excited about, and I'm here to talk to you about the movie spoiler free. Now, spoiler free, talking about *Malignant*, it's going to be a little bit more tricky than usual, so I'm not gonna go into details when it comes to the plot. I'm gonna talk to you more about other things in the movie that you can expect. I do think it's better if you go into the movie without knowing too much, but I do feel like there's a couple of things that if you know them beforehand might play on your favor for you having a better time with the movie. *Malignant* is an American horror film directed by James Wan based on an original story. The film stars Annabelle Wallis as a woman who begins to have visions of people being murdered only to realize the events are happening in real life. Madison is a woman that is already struggling in life as it is, and there is a couple of trigger warnings, something that happens towards the beginning of the film. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I'm just going to leave the trigger warnings at the end of my description down below in case somebody wants to check it out to protect themselves, because there's a couple of things that happen that could be triggers for people potentially. But anyways, Madison, our main character, like I said, is struggling in life as it is, and then on top of that she starts to have some visions at night. At the beginning she thinks that it's just nightmares, but these visions seem to be too real. They are all about a killer that is murdering his victims, and soon Madison realizes that the killings are happening in real life, so she's going to try to find out who is the killer, and she's going to try to stop him. Now, when you hear this and when you see the trailer that was released, I only watched, I think, the teaser, you have the impression that this is going to be a supernatural movie with some maybe police investigation to it. And while it is for some part of the film, it's not exactly what this movie is about. And I feel like that there is what has so many people disappointed when they go and watch the movie. Madison is our main character and basically the only one that we really get to know, the one that really gets a lot of backstory, and the other characters are kind of supporting characters for her. We have some police investigators that are helping her to find the killer. We get to know her family, her sister, and everybody, but the movie really is and centers around Madison. And that is basically most of what I can tell you about the plot of this movie, because it is really better if you don't know anything else when it comes to the storyline or the plot. So now let's take a look at the more technical stuff. In this movie, there is perhaps a little bit more effort paid to the atmosphere and the creepy moments, the kind of shots that you expect from a James Wan movie, and maybe there was less effort put into the storyline, the plot, because I did see a lot of things coming. I was able to predict a lot of things because, well, you know, on the other hand, I'm really good at putting the pieces of the puzzle together, but I think that this movie is predictable, but it's not gonna bother anybody. Really, it didn't bother me at all because I was just having such a good time with the film. The cinematography was one of my favorite things of this film. I thought it was fantastic and really strong. I absolutely love the camera angles, and there is a specific scene, it's not a spoiler, where Madison is just running in the inside of the house, kind of running afraid, and you see her from above, and it's a wide shot of her just running throughout the house as if she would be a mouse running in a labyrinth, like in a maze, and that was just so beautiful to see. So amazing job with the cinematography. The dialogue and the soundtrack, that was a little bit over the top. were done like this on purpose to make this movie really campy, including the bad acting moments in this film. There's many lines in the script that it's just tropes and cliches, and that was just done so smartly. If somebody else would have done this, we would have probably said that this movie was just a bad movie. But the way that James Wan has done it, you can see there was an intention to do this movie exactly like this. I am a firm believer that this movie doesn't take itself seriously, and I could tell. I have no problem identifying that. I know some people have mentioned that they don't see that. They think this movie is not really achieving that self-awareness, but for me, it achieved it and it succeeded and it worked for me. I feel like this movie took the opportunity to go through a lot of horror tropes, and I think that James Wan really decided to take this huge leap of faith, this huge risk, because of who he is, and he has the opportunity to do that. And I'm just so thankful that he decided to bring us something completely different from what we know from him. And honestly, I was so happy to see such a movie in the cinema. I don't remember last time I've seen a movie like this in a cinema. So campy, so much fun. The movie has a very simple mood, but the way that he works with the colors and with the angles and the cameras, it's just so fantastic. This movie is kind of made for horror fans, in my opinion. I think it's going to work best for horror fans in general, and the movie is just bonkers. I definitely think that you're gonna have an amazing time with it. People have been calling the movie stupid or amateurish, and I think those people have actually missed the point of the movie, in my opinion. I feel like it's really easy to see that everything that was done in this movie was extremely intentional, and it was there for the purpose of being just fun and to have a good time, to have a good laugh, and it worked for me. James has maintained that he is not particularly an extreme horror fan or anything like that. You know, his career has basically taken him down that path, but he just loves movies, period. And I feel like with this movie, he just wanted to merge a lot of different genres with horror, and it worked perfectly. The problem is that the movie starts as a supernatural kind of movie, then it turns into a mystery thriller, and then it just goes into a complete different direction. And so there is all of these changes of tone of the film, and a lot of people are not going to be in for the ride, but I was so on board. I love that this movie had me guessing what was going to happen. I didn't know what to expect, and it just got more and more crazy. To be honest, the third act was my favorite thing about this film, and I feel like a lot of horror fans feel the same way. I really enjoyed that third act. Actually, I was just smiling throughout the whole third act, just having a blast with it. And I don't remember being in a cinema having just so much fun with a horror movie. And some people have been saying that there's a lot of plot holes in this film, and I don't 100% agree with that statement, because the movie is just not telling you what to think the whole time. James Wan is giving you clues throughout the first two parts of the movie, and basically he's just putting all the pieces of the puzzle together in the third act, and everything is connected, everything is kind of explained. So I don't feel like there were all of these plot holes that people are claiming the movie has, but that might be just my opinion, you know, just take it with a grain of salt. There was a lot of talk that this movie was going to kind of give homage to the giallo movies of the 70s and 80s, and I do see some elements of it. I do see, you know, the killer, the aesthetics of the killer, the gloves, the weapon, that the POV moment sometimes could be related to the giallo movies. But I feel like this movie felt also a lot of times like a take on the late 90s, early 2000s horror movies. And there is also many things that reminded me of James Wan's previous movies. I don't know if it was done on purpose, but it just felt like a little bit of a mix of James Wan's movies in a way. And because of the character of Madison, she did remind me of Dario Argento's opera, because Madison is paralyzed when she has these visions of the killer, so she basically cannot move. She can only witness what's happening. And in Dario Argento's opera, our main character is also forced to basically sit down and watch the murders happen without her being able to stop anything. So it kind of reminded me of that movie as well. So Malignant, I have decided to give this movie a 4.5 out of 5, which is going to be controversial, I guess. A lot of people didn't really love that movie as much as I did, honestly, but I just felt like it was a lot of fun and an unexpected ride of a movie. I feel like Malignant is a little bit of a game changer, and I feel like it's definitely going to become a cult classic. At least I know it is going to be for me. I'm already dying to rewatch it. The movie, in my opinion, as I've mentioned before, I think it's a love letter for horror fans. It does have a lot of tropes and cliches and all of those lines in the script, and it's kind of self-aware, I think, on that humor that it's presenting. It's done intentionally, and it's just so much fun to see a movie that is able to do that. There's a lot of Easter eggs and things related to horror movies. You're gonna find so many elements like that. I feel like if I would rewatch it and really pay attention to every little detail, I would find so many elements from so many different horror movies. Now, the level of horror, this movie was not particularly scary. It does have some of those typical Conjuring / Insidious kind of jump scare moments, and it has some good violence and gore towards the third act. That was my favorite part of the movie. I feel like this is the first time that I have seen a James Wan horror movie that it's not taking itself so seriously, which was really refreshing, because Insidious and Dead Silence and all of these other movies, they are all serious movie, intended to be serious, and in this one he allowed himself just to have a good time, to have a good laugh, and he definitely succeeded, in my opinion. However, this is not going to be for the casual Joe, casual Jane moviegoer. It's not going to be a movie that it's going to be universally loved. I already know that, and I completely understand the people that are saying that they hated the movie. Like, I can see why somebody would hate it, but for me it was just so much fun. It was a blast as a horror fan to be able to see this movie, and it's coming from somebody that I don't particularly love horror comedies, but this one, the way that it's done, is just so smart. It's just so intelligent. It's so intended that it worked. They are not forcing jokes on you. They are not forcing all of these that normally you get in horror comedies. It's just fun if you're a horror fan and you know all the tropes, all the typical lines that are said in horror movies, all of those things, the bad acting of those campy movies that we still love because they're campy, they're cheesy, we love it. So I just felt like this was basically a must-watch. So I do recommend you guys to give it a shot, but keep in mind, it is nothing like the other James Wan movies, and it is not like the trailer believes you to be. So that's all I'm gonna say. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this spoiler-free review. Let me know down below if you watched Malignant, what you thought of it, or if you're planning to watch it anytime soon. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support, and I hope to see you all in the next copy time. Bye!